The defensive effort against Tech, better overall compared to the last couple games. Well, what was your assessment of it?
Well, I don't think that, our effort has been there. Obviously, we had better results this week, and, we still didn't have the results you're looking for. We didn't play good enough defense to win the football game. That's the bottom line. And that's our job every week, is to play great defense and to shut an opponent out and stop them from scoring. And we haven't done that well enough to win the football games yet. So we've got to do a better job, as coaches, as players, and try to keep getting better every week.
What challenges does FAU present to you that you can see from film?
Well, their quarterbacks, obviously are the challenge this week because they're, a run-pass threat. Anytime you're playing a team that the quarterback can run, the football adds a tough dimension for you defensively. They're a big physical football team. With their running backs, they run hard. The quarterback's a big runner. I mean, he's 220 pounds. He can throw it and run it. So that adds a different element to your challenges. So we'll have our work cut out for us this week.
There was no shortage of clutch plays this past Saturday. Michael Smith came up with a big one on the shovel pass, and Kyrie, did what he always does. So specifically, there was a lot of good play from the front four this past Saturday. Is that
right? I think our front four has played really well, this season. Kyrie's done a great job every single week. He's played hard. He's the one guy that you notice is okay. He's not getting knocked off the football. He's getting penetration. He's doing what, we need him to do. Michael Smith has been playing well. Our defensive four has really been playing well, but those four, since Rakeem has been, we've lost Rakeem, the front four really hasn't changed much this season. So, they've been fairly consistent at week in, week out. So, that's a real big positive for us.
had a nice performance despite no Dylan Reed and no Allen Howes, no Dylan Reed. Am I missing anybody else that was out this past Saturday?
Well, Alex Smith has been,
And Jerry, and I think maybe he was limited this weekend?
Jerry's been playing with, a wrist, injury. He's got a cast on his hand, but, we've moved some people around. We put Tavares, at the spur position and, gave us a little bit of a coverage matchup advantage, and he's done a good job. But of course, anytime you move players around, there's a learning curve adjustment. So, hopefully we can continue to grow and get a little stabilization. Hopefully we can get a couple guys back this week.
Coach, I know we talked a little bit about it earlier in the year, but the third down woes kind of continued last week. Is there one specific thing that you've seen that is the cause of that, or is it just kind of a combination of a couple of different things?
I wish I had a concrete answer for you. One time it's, we're in a coverage to make the ball be thrown down underneath, and we get the ball thrown down underneath and we don't react up fast enough to prevent the first down. One time where, we have double coverage and we have the double coverage leveraged the wrong way. And guys, it's up to me to figure out, the scheme to make our guys have success. And, can you get to them with just four? And a lot of times too is we're in those third down and, 2 to 5 area. That's a lot tougher than playing in third down and, 7 to 9 to 12. Obviously that's what you're shooting for. The longer you can get them in those yardage situations, the better your statistics are going to be. So we've got to do a better job on first and second down of keeping them out of those short third down scenarios.
Coach, you already mentioned Kyrie's play, and he's been playing really well. Can you talk about what it means to have a player like that to set the example kind of for the younger players?
I've been leaning on him a lot, since we've lost, a bunch of our senior leadership. That's where your voice in the room, your voice on the field, your voice that can carry some of the messages from the coaches to, the locker room. And, we've lost some of that, with Darren Wilson being out, with Jacorius Cotton not being here, with Allen Howes being out. Those were guys that played with a lot of confidence. And, you know, younger players, it's hard to play with confidence because you're just struggling to get aligned, you're struggling to learn what you're doing, you're not quite so sure about your ability level. And so, you know, Kyrie has done an unbelievable job every single week of trying to lead, not only through his play and how hard he's practicing, but and it may not be in his nature to be a vocal leader, but he's doing the best job he can of trying to get everybody to have a great week of practice and then play as hard as he's been playing.
Coach, at the beginning of the year, I guess, you know, people would have said that, you know, the defense was going to be the strong point of the team, and, you know, due to injuries and other things, I mean, where do you think that lies now, 9 games into the season?
You know, every week we're just trying to get better. I mean, it's been a very frustrating year for everybody associated with Southern Miss in the program. And for me in particular, we haven't done a good enough job. I mean, it's, you know, and it starts with me. And, you know, no matter what happens injury-wise, you're still trying to stop people, to be productive on defense, to put your offense in good field position, to do whatever you can to win that football game. And we haven't done a good enough job yet, so it's extremely frustrating. I thought we would be better. You can't control the injury situation. It is what it is, and you're expecting younger players to now grow up a lot faster than they need to. And that's my job, to get them up to speed as fast as we can, or try to create a situation where they can play fast. And that's, you know, it's a challenge right now, but, you know, we've got to rise to that challenge.
And a lot of times, you know, your offense can be your defense if you're giving the defense breaks, you know, if they're doing long drives, and a lot of times defense can be your offense if you're creating turnovers, more possessions. Where do you think it starts with this team?
I'm not sure I understand your
I guess it just seems like, you know, they don't complement one another all the time. You know, defense might make a good play and offense will, you know, just, you know, stall out, or, you know, does it start on either side of the ball for this team?
You know, you hope that, you know, you can feed off each other and the emotions of the game, and that obviously plays a big part in winning and losing football games. Momentum shifts are a huge part of college football. Big plays, whether it's your kicking game, whether it's your offense generating big plays, or whether your defense is, you should feed off of one another. And, you know, it's not one or the other phases right now. I mean, it's, you know, we've got, you know, one time, you know, defense isn't doing what it needs to. Obviously, we have not done what we've needed to do this season. We have not stopped our opponents well enough, and, you know, we've obviously, you know, don't have any excuses. You know, we're just trying to get better, and, you know, it's like this week, you know, we all have said all along, how do you stay positive? How do you stay focused? Well, the same way you did in week 1. I don't look back anymore. I concentrate on our next opponent, and that's the only way that you can feel better and try to be positive and try to go out with a positive attitude, and they've done a great job, and that's all we're focused on right now.
And despite the struggles, coming home for only the 4th time this year, you know, the players kind of rejuvenated to get back into the rock and play.
I know I'm excited to get back, you know, and stay home and sleep in your own bed, and hopefully, you know, I hope our fans are still supportive. I know they will be. They're pretty passionate about Southern Miss, and you know, and they're, you know, these players still have not quit. You know, it's not, you know, one thing that, you know, I still think they're playing hard, and, you know, hopefully it'll be nice to play, you know, in a friendly environment.
Given the way the penalty situation was against Marshall last week before Louisiana Tech, 0 penalties in the first half, 3 for the whole game. For, you know, obviously that's the whole team, but defensively there was 5 or 6 offside penalties the week before, none this week. So, I mean, did you guys, obviously that was a concerted effort on y'all's part, but you're pleased, I would assume you're pleased with the sort of trending that way as opposed to.
Yeah, you try to fix the things that you know, teams, they, you know, they did a good job of hard caught us the week before, and, you know, obviously we worked really hard on it in practice this past week, and, you know, our defensive front really did a good job of concentrating on trying to, you know, see the football on the get-offs. And it's like anything, you better fix the things that teams have success with, or you're going to get it the rest of the year. That's no secret to anything. Teams look for weaknesses that you've struggled with in previous games, and if you don't fix them, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to keep seeing the same problems week in, week out. So, you know, we did work pretty hard on that part of the game.
That last minute switch at quarterback for them, I guess it was pretty close to kickoff when they decided that Higgins wasn't going to be able to go. Did that throw you guys off in any way, or?
Not really, because we're scheme-based defense. Right now we're trying to get better ourselves. Where everybody's going, how to defense everything. We knew that their running back was very talented. I mean, he was going to be the guy, and that's what we were extremely focused on, trying to stop him. And did it affect us? Not really.
Anything else for Coach?
Statistically, do you have any goals per game?
Not per game. Obviously you want to play as good as defense as possible. Play as well as you possibly can. Obviously right now it's a very frustrating season for us statistically, but statistics, can be very misleading sometimes. And so, yeah, they can give you a gauge on things that, your quality control numbers, obviously you're looking to evaluate those every single week. But from week in to week out, I don't pay much attention. The only statistic right now that's a critical statistic for me is wins and losses, just winning the football game. That's the most important thing, and the focus we're worried about this week is just let's get this one this weekend.
Sometimes we hear about a player calling plays defensively on the field. Do you have a guy that does that, in your defense? And I ask because I thought I heard that Alan House did it at one time, and of course we hadn't seen him in 4 or 5 games.
Well, we don't have any, but I would call the defenses myself. But obviously within each particular defense, there's adjustments that have to be made, with different formations people give you. So, that's on one of our players. And obviously when Alan was in there, Alan was a very bright player and could handle everything. So a lot of the burden fell on him. Now, we've got to ask, a bunch of guys to, get involved in different checks and things to get us in the right defense per formation. So, yeah. Do they make the calls themselves? No, but they do make adjustments within the defense.
But you don't really have anybody in particular. I mean,
It's
like
basically,
House did.
it falls right now on the Mike linebacker, mostly on C.J. Perry, who's a first-year player. That's a big-time burden on him, because when you're a first-year player, a lot of times you're just worried about, hey, where do I line? What is my assignment, from here? And now you're asking him to make adjustments within, all of that. That's a pretty big deal for him. So he's done an unbelievable job as a true freshman, trying to carry that load. And obviously we're asking, Emmanuel Johnson and our safeties to handle, to help with a lot of the calls too. Tarek Wright's been an experienced player, and so, it's a give and take if, they're all working together to try and, get everything nailed down correctly.